Let's talk about the Game Boy that survived the Gulf War. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you to talk Nintendo. In fact, Game Boy. I don't have a Game Boy to show you. I used to have one. I don't have one anymore. This was my original Nintendo. Look at this. Get the mic out of the way so you can see it. I know. You know what a Nintendo looks like. Why bring this out? Still has my Do the Bartman sticker on it. Do the Bartman. If you were around in 1989, Batman was hot. And the Bartman was pretty close behind Batman. Oh, I thought it said Do the Bartman. I was wrong. It says Watch It, Dude. I don't know about you, but that's a good saying right there. I would like to see that on a shirt. Watch it, dude. Sums up my whole life right there. Watch it, dude. Because I'm a tough guy. I can beat you up. My Nintendo. You know, this thing, plug it in, and it still works. I got this one in probably 85, maybe 86, somewhere around there for Christmas. Probably 86 now I think about it. And guess what? Hook it up, plug in the wires, throw it up on the TV, and put a game in there. Sometimes it still sticks down. I remember that when I was a kid, it wouldn't stay down. You have to put the game in there, and every once in a while it would stick down. See, it stayed down that time. Remember when you had to blow in the games? Oh, I used to think that was someone's job when you sent a game back to get it fixed. I was like, what I want to be when I grow up? I just want a blow job. Just sit, it looks good. Like, who wouldn't love a blow job? Anyway, we're going to talk about not this Nintendo. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Game Boy. This was a hot system back in the early 90s, released in the U.S. in 1989. That Christmas, a lot of people got it. The following Christmas, even more people got it. It was a hot item. It was fun to play Tetra. I had it. I didn't play mini games. A Mario game that came with it. I don't know if it came with it, but it came out at the same time. Maybe it did come with it. Of course, Tetris was huge. Pipe Dreams I had. I liked that one. I think I had maybe a Castlevania game. Off the top of my head, maybe a Castlevania game. But I had a lot of games for it. We're not going to sit here and talk about the games we're going to talk about. I'm going to tell you a story about a Nintendo Game Boy that went to war. So let's go all the way back here to the early 90s. Stephen Soggs was a police officer in Oklahoma City when the Gulf War started. Well, he got called back to service, and he went with pride. He was a U.S. Army medic that was stationed in the 44th Evacuation Hospital. Evacuation. I know I said that f***ed up. I'm sorry. I know I said that bad. Sorry about that. Anyway, his barracks where he was stationed at was bombed. And that caused, of course, a whole fire, and the whole thing burned up. But luckily, no one was killed. No one died. No one really got any major hurt in any major way that I could find in researching the story. But being everything was caught on fire, all the soldiers lost all their personal items and other things, clothes, gadgets, whatever they had, not on them, it was lost during the fire. Now, of course, this was long before the days of smartphones and iPads. To pass time, you have to have something, so why not a Game Boy? It was perfect. It fit in your pocket, and there's probably a lot of downtime during the Gulf War. Never been in the military, man. I salute you if you have, but I'm sure there's a lot of downtime. But he went through the wreckage and found his Game Boy. It was burned up, destroyed. What was Steven going to do? There was no Toys R Us in town to go get a new one, so he wrote to Nintendo a letter about what happened and sent the damaged Nintendo along with the letter. Steven just hoped maybe they would read his story, see what had happened, and give him a replacement for it. Well, Nintendo got the burned Nintendo, and they knew looking at it, they're not going to be able to fix this thing. I mean, the A and B button was melted into the handheld. Anyway, they looked it over just to be sure, and there was no fixing this thing. I mean, it was all burned up, and like I said, the A and B in the control panel was all melted. Wasn't much hope at all. But one of the techs there, they decided, hey, I'll slap a game in. Let's just see what happens. So he put a new battery into the handheld and slapped in a cartridge. Tetris. So he slid Tetris in, fired up the on button, and believe it or not, ping! He heard that familiar sound when you boot up a Game Boy. And he soon found out that if he pressed really hard on the select or the start button, the game would work. The Game Boy would still work. Can you believe it? My son bought an Xbox, 2 of them, and they broke within 2 months. Had something they call the red ring of death, and we were just told, sorry, shit happens. But Game Boy went through a war, burned up, still worked. Like this bad boy here. Since 1986, still works today. They don't make them like that anymore. But it's not like it was playable. Like I said, the buttons were all melted and the screen was damaged. You could make out what game it was, but the bottom half of the screen was pretty damaged. Nintendo did send a replacement Game Boy to Steven so he could pass some time during the war. And Nintendo kept the burnt one, and it's on display at the Rockefeller Center store in New York. They have it powered up so you can always see the screens lit up. You can see that this Nintendo Game Boy, though it's all burned up, it still works today. They did slightly repair the screen a little bit, but if you're visiting that store, just take a look. It's on display, like I said, lit up. Can't play it. It's behind glass, but there it is working. Anyway, this is a little interesting story. I wasn't sure if you guys had heard it or not. And if you're in New York or planning a trip to New York, check out that store. I was there a couple years ago, and maybe I just overlooked this thing and didn't see it. Kind of wish I saw it now if it was there then. But if you're headed to New York, check it out. Anyway, that's a look at the Game Boy that survived the Gulf War. Whew, now let's go fire this bad boy up. I'm going to go play me some Nintendo. Mile and Secret Castle. Here we go.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.